So please look at the diagram here. If possible, all of you just try to draw the diagram with me. So just have an outlook of this nuclei. So now what we'll do, we are going to learn about the functions of each nuclei. So we will start with anterior nuclei because it's in the front. Okay, anterior. Okay, now all of you just imagine, of all the sensations in the body, which is that sensation you will, which you give more importance to? Obviously emotions. Okay, so put emotions in front. Anterior nuclei of thalamus carries emotions. Okay, emotions and also memory. So the anterior nuclei, so how will you remember that? The anterior nuclei, it's in the front. So of all the sensations in the body, put emotions in the front. We carry emotions only first. So emotions and memory. Then we'll move on to VPL and VPM. What does VPL and VPM stand for? So I will just write the full form here. VPL stands for ventral posterolateral, and VPM stands for ventral posteromedial. But for our convenience, how are we going to learn is that VPL. So our mnemonic here is V for very, P for painful, L for limbs, which means that pain from the limbs is carried to the ventral posterolateral nucleus. So what is the function of ventral posterolateral nucleus? Pain sensation from limbs. It carries the pain sensation from limbs. What does VPM stand for? Of the mouth travels through the VPM nucleus, ventral posteromedial nucleus. Okay, so if you got it, VPL stands for ventral posterolateral nuclei of thalamus. How will you remember that? Very painful limbs, which means VPL carries pain from the limbs. VPM stands for very painful mouth, which means it carries pain sensation from mouth and also face. Okay, because mouth is on the face only, no? So mouth and also face. So let's write out the functions here. Number one, anterior nuclei. Anterior nuclei carries emotions. Number two, VPL nuclei of thalamus carries pain from limbs. Number three, VPM nuclei carries pain from mouth and face. Number four, so we'll move on to medial geniculate body. Medial geniculate body. See, how will you learn medial geniculate body? There's an M there. M stands for music. When I say music, it means something which you hear. So it carries the auditory pathway. So the hearing pathway or auditory pathway passes through the medial geniculate body. So medial geniculate body, it plays a role in, or it carries the auditory tracts. VPL, I'm sorry, LGB, lateral geniculate body. So how will you learn lateral geniculate body? You have an L here. This L stands for looking, which means visual pathway. The visual pathway passes through the lateral geniculate body. So LGB, visual pathway. So we are left out with one more nuclei, VL and VA, which have a minor role in motor. So I already told you, sensory is the main function of thalamus. Sensory tracts pass mainly to the thalamus. Motor role also is there, but it's very minor. So VA and VL. So I don't have any mnemonic for that. You can remember however you want. VA stands for ventroanterior. VL stands for ventrolateral. Carries motor tracts. Okay. So this is about the thalamus. So first of all, you need to understand that thalamus has an important role in sensory pathway. So the main role of thalamus is it is the sensory relay station. So how will you learn the nuclei and how will you remember the functions of each of the nuclei? So of all the sensations, put emotion. We always carry emotions first. So anterior nuclei, it's in the front. It carries emotions and memory. VPL stands for ventral posterolateral. A mnemonic is very painful limbs, which means that it carries pain sensation from the limbs. VPM, ventral posteromedial, very painful mouth, which means that it carries pain sensations from the mouth. And MGB, medial geniculate body. M for music. Music is something that you hear, so it carries auditory pathway. Lateral geniculate body, looking. Looking is something related to vision, so it carries visual pathway. And VA and VL stand for motor pathways. Okay? It means that the motor tracks cross through the this part of the thalamus. See, when we learn the sensory pathways and corticospinal tract, motor tracks and all, we will be able to better correlate this. Okay, since it's just an isolated topic, just try to learn only the nuclei of thalamus and its related functions. So now tell me, what is the answer for this? Somebody in the chat box, can you just post the answer for this? Which part of thalamus is related to motor control? Anybody? No one? Just now I showed you the image. Just look at the image. Yeah, Dr. Rahul, very good. So it is ventrolateral thalamus. Ventrolateral thalamus. What is the function of VPM? Yes, pain from mouth. VPL is pain from limbs. So next we'll move on to the next question. Ghrelin acts on which part of hypothalamus to increase feeding? So this question is about hypothalamus. So we need to know what is hypothalamus and what are the nuclei of hypothalamus. So first let's learn about the hypothalamus. See, if you look at the diagram here, so let us trace which is the hypothalamus in this diagram. Yes, Dr. Sambit, you given the right answer. Very good. So if you look at the hypothalamus, so let me zoom into this. Which is the hypothalamus in this? Yes, this portion is the hypothalamus. If you look at the diagram, you can see that hypothalamus is related to, below you have the pituitary and above you have the limbic system. Okay, below you have pituitary and above you have limbic system. Hypothalamus plays a very important role in the control of pituitary as well as the limbic system. So how does hypothalamus control the pituitary? So first we'll see how hypothalamus controls the pituitary. Next we'll see how it controls the limbic system. Next we'll see about the nuclei of hypothalamus. Like thalamus, hypothalamus also has its own nuclei. So if you look at this diagram, it's actually a very difficult diagram, but it's absolutely nonsense if you try to remember this diagram. Okay, it's not at all needed. What all you need to know is you have the pituitary. What I'm drawing here is pituitary. Above pituitary, you have hypothalamus. If you know this, it's more than enough. Okay, you just need not mug up the nuclei and where it is located and all that. You can just put boxes and place the nuclei. That's all randomly. What we need to learn is the name of the nuclei and its function. That's all. This diagram is not very important. And also know that hypothalamus, since pituitary is located below the hypothalamus, hypothalamus has a very strong control over pituitary. And in pituitary, you have anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary. So we'll see what hypothalamus does to anterior and posterior pituitary first. So this is a hypothalamus, and hypothalamus controls the anterior pituitary through releasing hormones. What is a releasing hormone? See, for every hormone released from the anterior pituitary, you have its releasing hormone released from the hypothalamus. For example, if it is ACTH released from the anterior pituitary, what is ACTH? Adrenocorticotrophic hormone. If adrenocorticotrophic hormone is going to be released from the anterior pituitary, its releasing hormone, cortisol releasing hormone, will be released from the hypothalamus. If TSH should be produced from the anterior pituitary, thyroid stimulating hormone, its releasing hormone, TRH, should be produced from the hypothalamus. Similarly, if LH and FSH, gonadotrophins, have to be produced from the adrenal cortex, anterior pituitary, its releasing hormones, gonadotrophin releasing hormone, will be produced from the hypothalamus. If growth hormone has to be produced from the anterior pituitary, Growth hormone releasing hormone from hypothalamus. If prolactin has to be produced, you need prolactin releasing hormone. Our MCQ point here is that hypothalamus produces all releasing hormones and only two inhibitory hormones. This was your last FMG question. What are the two hormones which are inhibited by hypothalamus? Can you see GIH and PIH? GIH stands for growth hormone inhibitory hormone. Growth hormone inhibitory hormone. And what is PIH? Prolactin inhibitory hormone. So just remember that anterior pituitary hormones, if they have to be produced from anterior pituitary, it has to get its releasing hormones from hypothalamus. And hypothalamus produces all releasing hormones, only two inhibitory hormones. What are they? Growth hormone inhibitory hormone and prolactin inhibitory hormone. Okay, so this is how hypothalamus controls the anterior pituitary. So now we'll see how hypothalamus controls the posterior pituitary. So this is hypothalamus and this is posterior pituitary. See, what are the hormones of posterior pituitary? Posterior pituitary hormones are oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin and vasopressin. See, the releasing hormones for anterior pituitary are produced from hypothalamus. But as far as posterior pituitary is concerned, oxytocin and vasopressin itself is produced from the hypothalamus only. Okay, our physiology books tell you that oxytocin and vasopressin are produced from the posterior pituitary. No, it is wrong. The statement is wrong. Just understand that actually oxytocin and vasopressin are synthesized in the hypothalamus only, and they travel to the posterior pituitary and they are just released from the posterior pituitary. Okay, so how does hypothalamus control anterior pituitary? Through releasing hormones. How does hypothalamus control posterior pituitary? The hormones of posterior pituitary itself are produced from hypothalamus only. Okay, so this is about anterior and posterior pituitary. So next, let's learn about the functions of hypothalamus or the nuclei of hypothalamus and its role. Okay, so how do we learn it as simple as possible? See, all of you, look at this diagram. Look at that car there. Just remember this car. Just imagine this car if any question is asked about the nuclei of hypothalamus. So I'll tell you how. So first, the coolant in front. Okay, anteriorly, what do you have in the car? Anteriorly, every car will have its coolant. If you can imagine the olden days car and all, radiator is there and they used to open and pour water there. So anterior hypothalamus plays role in cooling the body. How does it cool the body? It plays an important role in thirst mechanism. So next is the posterior hypothalamus. What does posterior hypothalamus do? See, if you can imagine the car, posteriorly you have the silencer. What does silencer do? Silencer produces heat. So posterior hypothalamus produces heat in the body. How does it produce heat in the body? By shivering. By shivering. When you shiver, all your muscles contract and produce lot of heat. That is the role of posterior hypothalamus. Next, you have lateral nuclei of hypothalamus. Lateral nuclei is responsible for feeding. So how will you learn that? Just imagine the car, the back seat. You have three people sitting, two of them sitting laterally near the window. So wherever the car stops, those who are sitting laterally will open the window and will buy something and they'll keep on eating something. So lateral nuclei plays a role in feeding. Those are sitting laterally feeding, they keep on feeding something. And medial nuclei, just imagine the situation of the person who's sitting in the center. So he's not near the window, so he can't just open the window and eat anything, he can't buy anything. So fullness, satiety. Medial nuclei is responsible for satiety. Next you have suprachiasmatic nucleus. Supra means something on the top. So from this car, tell me what is the structure which is there on the top? It's called as the sunroof or moon roof. So when you hear the word sun and moon, it is something related to, yes, waking and sleeping. That is called circadian rhythm. What is circadian rhythm? Sleep wake cycles is called circadian. When you have to sleep and when you have to wake up, circadian rhythm is controlled by suprachiasmatic nucleus. How will you remember that? Supra is top, chiasma is below. What do you have on top of the car? Sunroof or moonroof. Sun and moon related to sleep-wake cycle. So next you have supraoptic nuclei and supraventricular nuclei. How will you learn this? Supraoptic has an O, oxytocin. Supraventricular has a V, vasopressin. So supraoptic and supraventricular produce oxytocin and vasopressin. But some books tell you that supraoptic produces vasopressin and supraventricular produces oxytocin. Okay, O will produce V and V will produce O. Mammillary body. What is the role of mammillary body? See, mammillary memory. Okay, don't they sound the same? Mammillary memory. So mammillary body is responsible for memory. Preoptic area. Preoptic area decreases blood pressure and heart rate. How will you learn this? There's a pre here also. Pre stands for pressure. So preoptic area controls blood pressure. It actually decreases the blood pressure and heart rate. So this is how you learn the nuclei of hypothalamus. See, not only hypothalamus, whenever you learn about any part from physiology, so just try to make it as simple as possible. Okay, so hope nuclei of thalamus and hypothalamus are clear to you now. So one other thing is that instead of learning everything and forgetting everything, it's better that you learn in a smart way. So learn, focus only on what is needed for the exam and try to get through that as much as possible. Don't try to read from first line to last line of the book. Ultimately you will eventually forget everything. Okay, so hope we join you for the for future classes also. So we'll try to learn physiology in a very a happy way instead of getting stressed. So we'll try to make it as simple as possible. Okay, thanks to Mediclass for this. Thank you, friends. If you have any queries, kindly post in the chat box. Feeding center, all of you know now. Yes, lateral nuclei. Lateral nuclei is the feeding center. And ghrelin acts on this feeding center to increase the feeding in the body. Okay, so thank you, friends. In case you have any doubt, please post in the